What's going on, guys? This is Mr. DeLorean here, and today a brand new video. And today what I want to do is break down the new full and extended trailer we got for Fear the Walking Dead Season 7. Now, in other previous teaser trailers and promotional materials for Season 7, we've gotten tiny, very tiny looks at possible new walkers that'll become of the radiation or anything. Some looks at some new possible enemies and everything that will come out of the wasteland, and the CRM and how all of those tiny factors will be playing in the Season 7 of Fear the Walking Dead. But now we have an even bigger look and a deeper look into how all of that will be playing into Season 7, including a huge new feud in All Out War and everything, and how Morgan will be banished from Strand's new community, and a huge new feud in All Out War between Strand and possibly Morgan, which is all absolutely insane and everything. So make sure to stick around as we break down this trailer, because it definitely gets way crazier. So first in this trailer breakdown, I did want to go over possible new people or characters that will be introduced into Season 7. So first we have this person walking over the wasteland and everything, or through the wasteland, and we have seen shots of Grace and Morgan out in the wasteland and everything, so this could be Morgan or Grace and everything, but we do not know yet and everything, and it's not confirmed on who this is. Now we do get this really sick and badass shot of what looks to be not Morgan or either Grace or any characters that we do know of so far in Season 7 or that have been past seasons. So in my opinion, this could be anybody, in my opinion, a new character and everything. Now where this person does look to be is possibly a burning forest, since it doesn't look to be in any type of industrial zone or anything, since I did think these things were pipes in the background, but I do now think they are trees and everything on fire, which does give me heavy season 10 episode 1 vibes and everything from The Walking Dead, when that whole forest is on fire from the satellite dropping out the universe or into the onto the earth, which does this scene and everything does look really cool and interesting and scary and just badass in general. But maybe we'll get to see how the kind of nuclear radiation or anything, the nuclear blast does infect the wildlife and everything, the woods and all that whole aspect, which will be really interesting, since like I said, this scene does look really cool. Next we get the shot of a woman or anything pointing a gun at someone and shooting everything inside of a building. So I do wonder who she's shooting at, because it could be many people. It could be Grace, Morgan, Strand, the CRM, or anybody else, but this person does look to be a new character and everything that they will be focusing on a little bit and everything, at least in Season 7. And this could have been the person inside of that gas mask in the beginning and everything, since this is a person that will be shown a decent amount in the trailer. So this could have been the person inside the mask and everything, and we'll be exploring her kind of backstory or how she'll go into the wasteland, survive and meet her group and everything throughout Season 7. Next we have this person running and everything in a gas mask throughout the wasteland and everything, the gas and the kind of smoke, which I do wonder who this is and everything. This could be the new character that we haven't seen so far throughout the trailer. This could be a completely new person, I'm not sure. We do get to see this person kind of gearing up for war or battling and everything against some walkers in the wasteland under a bridge. Also getting to see this person kind of a gas masking walking throughout the wasteland, looking at this lighthouse that does look to be a lighthouse and everything from where I grew up and everything in New Jersey, which obviously isn't the case at all and everything, since this is in fucking Texas, I think, but it does look pretty similar. I think it does look like a really nice and cool shot, but an interesting location. Now next is probably the scariest fucking shot or anything in this trailer so far, anything, which is people possibly affected by the radiation, or how I get to see how people have been infected or infected anything by the radiation, in the poisoning and the horrible side effects of radiation, kind of the HBO series Chernobyl and everything, and see how we did get to see how that how the radiation and the blast did affect everyone in that situation. But it probably will be very terrifying and very gruesome to see how the radiation does affect people, as it did and everything in the series Chernobyl. We also get to see this person taking on some walkers and everything in a very close-up shot and everything in a gas mask, which this could be that new character that I've been seeing throughout the trailer and everything, or it might not be, or maybe someone else completely new. Next, let's move on to Morgan, Grace, new enemies, and the CRM. First, we have this kind of very weird shot of what looks to be under a bridge and everything, or under an overpass, of what looks to be these kind of nuclear imprinted things of people and everything on the overpass or under the bridge and anything on the wall. And for some reason this looks to be Morgan, the kid, and maybe Grace and everything, because it does look like there's a kid and everything. Obviously the only people that we know of so far that has a kid is Morgan and Grace, and this person does look to be Morgan or anything, telling by the size of the character, maybe the Fallout jacket. Next we get two characters which I do believe are Morgan and Grace and everything, yet again walking under a bridge and an overpass and everything, or under a bridge into the wasteland, which I'm assuming this is what will be carrying the baby and everything, and trying to look for supplies or maybe new people, or is maybe looking for Strand and where everyone else is. Now this is where it gets really massive. We see Morgan, Sarah, and maybe one other character that I'm not sure who he is yet, and everything. It could be a new character, but standing over what is essentially Strand's new battle station or community, where we did see him previously and everything in Season 6, where he was with that one other new character. This is essentially Strand's new community and everything, which does look pretty cool, but this is essentially Morgan maybe visiting visiting him to find out what happened with him. We also get to see Morgan on the back of Al's kind of SWAT vehicle and everything, taking off his mask. But this is kind of a bit of an issue that I'm seeing so far with this trailer, is that the kind of radiation rules of the wasteland seem kind of very inconsistent with, like, you know, people constantly taking off their mask and everything. Like, maybe there's certain areas that aren't as radiated, but like come on, like, you know, I'd be pretty fucking scared to take off my mask anywhere outside this, like, you know, this wasteland. So it's kind of very inconsistent, where we do get to see him taking off his mask and everything and filming himself with, like, you know, maybe one of Al's cameras, which is very interesting. Maybe, like, you know, documenting himself, or maybe even showing that he will find Al, since the last time we did see our van was in the season 6 finale and everything, when they were taken by the CRM. Which, just as I say that and everything, we do get the next shot and everything, which is a CRM helicopter landing around Al's SWAT vehicle and everything, maybe coming back for some supplies, or maybe Morgan contacted the CRM or Al and everything in some form of way, which does make a lot of sense and everything. But obviously, since we did see Morgan on the back of the, like, you know, the Al's SWAT vehicle and everything, then now the helicopter approaching, this does mean we'll mostly get our first interaction between Morgan, Grace, the CRM and everything, and maybe Al's with, like, you know, the CRM. Next, we get to see Morgan and Grace and everything, or maybe it's Morgan and Grace who are being, like, you know, having guns pointed at them now and everything, but two people, maybe Morgan and Grace, riding on some horseback coming to confront two other people, which could also be, like, you know, two new characters or anything. But this does look to be outside the wasteland, since it does look a lot less grim and kind of, like, you know, wastelandy like and everything. And maybe they're holding up these people for, like, you know, supplies or maybe some other things. Next, we see Morgan and Grace on the road and everything, driving at night, maybe looking out for some supplies and everything in what I do think is Al's kind of SWAT van, or it could be another vehicle. But they kind of swerve off the road and everything and maybe crash into, like, you know, this whole, like, you know, warehouse, which I do wonder what causes them to swerve. Maybe it's a walker, maybe it's someone shooting at them. We do find out, like, you know, later in the trailer. Next, we see Morgan and Grace and everything in front of a CRM helicopter, which it does make me think, are they, like, you know, because, like, you know, how had the CRM shot them already? So maybe, like, you know, Morgan overtook, like, a CRM soldier and everything, and is maybe looking down on them, while maybe, like, you know, contacting the CRM, Al, or someone on the radio, which does make a little bit of sense and everything, because obviously the CRM are probably gonna be very suspicious of Morgan, how he looks and everything, with, like, you know, the whole vest and everything in the wasteland. So maybe Morgan is talking to Al and everything, as, like, you know, Al did talk to our characters and everything to say, like, you know, don't worry, they are friends and everything, to, like, you know, other people in season 6 finale. Next, we do see Grace or Morgan and everything taking out a walker on the road and everything, which could be, like, you know, them, like, you know, making a pit stop and everything before they swerve off the road, or maybe this is, like, you know, after they swerve off the road. Next, we do get Morgan and everything on the ground and everything, with the CRM soldier standing right above him and everything, because as you can tell by, like, you know, the leggings and everything, the outfit, which is very scary and everything, because, like, it kind of makes you think, you know, what are the CRM gonna do to him and everything? Are they gonna take him? Are we gonna get, like, you know, maybe, like, you know, because in this trailer, through the dialogue, it does suggest there's gonna be a war between, like, you know, or some form of conflict between Strand and Morgan, but maybe Morgan will get taken away and everything, and they'll say, like, you know, if I hear you do anything, I'll come back for you. But we do see him under a CRM soldier and anything, and kind of, like I said, this kind of non-wastelandish looking place and everything. So maybe this is while he's, like, you know, confronting those two other people on the road with Grace, since we do get some more wider shots and everything of Morgan and Grace and everything confronting these two people on the road, and one of them could have CRM gear, or one of them could be a CRM soldier, or maybe a CRM soldier comes out from the, like, you know, the wild to confront him and Grace and everything, and overpowers them and maybe takes them somewhere, or maybe questions them, because we do get a shot and everything of a CRM soldier, what looks to be heavily a CRM soldier and everything, like, you know, pointing a gun down at Grace, which does mean anything that Morgan and, like, you know, Grace and they're gonna run into CRM soldiers and anything, or maybe one CRM soldier, furthering their involvement and everything in season 7. Next, we do get to see Morgan and everything in the back of a car pointing a rifle at, like, you know, maybe a CRM soldier, maybe one of Strand's, like, you know, people and everything, since Strand does have a completely new group now. So I do wonder who he's, like, you know, pointing a rifle at. Next, we do get someone in a very creepy looking attire, like, it looks like a mixture of CRM soldier and Merle from, like, you know, The Walking Dead, with kind of like a little, it looks to be maybe a spike for an arm, or maybe a knife being held, but it does look to be a CRM soldier and anything in the middle of the road, and maybe this is what Morgan and Grace see in the road and swerve out of the way and everything and crash into the warehouse, which does make some sense. Next, you get to see Morgan on the wasteland and everything. This is after, like, you know, Victor has pretty much given him the rundown on how, like, you know, we tried it your way and everything, Morgan, but that didn't work out and everything. You failed everyone, and now I'm going to, like, you know, build it my way and everything, and you're not going to be a part of it and everything, and kind of essentially banishing Morgan and everything and saying, I don't want to ever see you around here ever again. Then Morgan gives his threat speech on essentially, yeah, you should rebuild it, Victor, and everything, but if I hear you hurt anyone I love or care about, I'm going to come back for you, and I'm not going to miss. And this is him while he's giving that speech and anything out in the wild, so I do wonder if maybe this is him watching Strand from a distance, but he's clearly out in the wasteland and everything, and this is maybe this is his last time seeing Strand and everything, saying, like, you know, if you ever hurt anyone, I'm going to come back for you, and then he's taken by the CRM. Next, we go back inside the submarine and everything, where we do get to see Morgan Morgan, or what looks to be Morgan or anything, holding off, or maybe like, you know, trying to stop a group from coming into submarine. This does look to be a new group that might be connected to Victor's, like, you know, new, like, you know, colony or whatever, but maybe not or anything. And if it's not, I do wonder if it's a part of, like, you know, maybe a new group that Morgan's gonna form, maybe a revolution against Strand's group, maybe a new army, or it could be a complete new group that's a complete enemy to both sides. I have no clue. We're gonna see a CRM soldier punching Morgan to the ground or anything, and this is clearly the one that might, like, you know, be the one that Morgan and Grace are trying to rob, or like, you know, hold off on the road. Because you do get shots of Morgan, or what I do believe is Morgan or anything, kind of like, you know, pointing to like maybe like, you know, these people on the road to go somewhere and everything, or maybe to put their, like, you know, weapons down and put their, like, you know, guns in a bag. And there's our last and final shot of Grace and Morgan and their kind of storyline with the CRM and everything. We do get Grace inside a shop, like kind of throwing something and maybe like, you know, frustration, or maybe trying to lure a walker somewhere. And if it's in frustration, I do wonder if this is maybe like, you know, Grace trying to look for supplies and everything, since in other previous teasers we do get to see her leave the submarine to look for supplies. Maybe this is her getting angry that there's, like, you know, nothing that's unradiated or, like, you know, safe to eat, which is, like, you know, a plausible theory. Next, let's go to John Sr. and June and their whole kind of, like, you know, whole new storyline. First, we get someone what might be John Sr. or June or anything, although it doesn't really look like any of them or anything, but it does look like they're coming up from a bunker, which is obviously, like, you know, where, like, you know, John and June went and everything, which was, like, you know, Teddy's old bunker and everything, or new bunker underground, which this does look like to be, like, you know, the most plausible of what it could be and everything. Also, we do see people kind of, like, you know, climbing out what looks to be John and June's bunker and everything, since obviously their bunker goes downwards and everything, and is, like, you know, kind of in the middle of a dirt, like, you know, kind of just a dirt kind of plain and everything. We do get to see dirt fall down on this person that does open the thing, or open the hatchet, so this could be, like, you know, maybe like an enemy group leaving John and June's thing, or this could be John and June leaving, because in the previous, like, you know, teaser trailer that we did get and everything, it did, like, you know, have June saying to John, maybe saying we don't know how much radiation is out there, so maybe this is John Sr. trying to leave and everything, or maybe trying to chase after this, like, an enemy group. Next, we get to see June or anything hiding in the underground bunker, maybe what is, like, in the underground bunker. It could be somewhere else. Maybe she leaves the underground bunker with John, but we do get to see her hiding from what looks to be, like, you know, a new nuclear wasteland group and everything, with the stakes trying to, like, you know, fend off and everything and hide. So I do not doubt this is like a new hostile group, or maybe a new hostile group that she's trying to hide from. Now let's see what Dwight and Sherry are up to in the season 7 trailer. First, we do get to see Dwight and Sherry getting bags thrown over their heads by some yet again nuclear wasteland inhabitants. And in previous teaser images, we did get to see them kind of, like, you know, with this new military group. So maybe that's who, like, you know, this is and everything. Maybe the military group take them to somewhere that's, like, you know, safer, less radiated. Because if it's not, I do wonder who this group is that's just throwing bags over their heads and everything and saying, "Come with us." We'd also get to see someone opening a, like, kind of like this underground cellar area and everything, and where we did see last, like, you know, Dwight and Sherry was in kind of, like, you know, an underground cellar and everything, trying to, like, you know, fend off against, like, you know, the nuke and everything as it, like, first went off. So maybe this is that new group and everything, finding Dwight and Sherry and maybe trying to help them, like, you know, up to the ground or anything, to make them less, or make them more safe or anything above ground from the radiation. Next, we see Dwight and everything in this kind of trophy room, maybe an old school, or, like, you know, maybe an old office and everything, taking on a walker and everything. And Dwight does look pretty cool. We also get to see Dwight kind of, like, you know, very lightly sparring off or fighting this, like, you know, person or anything inside this, like, you know, maybe bar. And this does look to be a new character, maybe, like, you know, someone else we saw in the trailer or anything, but very lightly sparring, so maybe not like a serious fight. Now let's go over some other people that are seen in the season 7 trailer that may be familiar faces, or, like, you know, just new faces, or just some other people. Going back to the first shot, I think we do get to see, like, you know, Sarah and everything, this new character, or maybe a new character standing in front of Victor's new compound with Morgan, so that's where Sarah is. Next, we get to see what maybe is Sherry. I'm not 100% sure. It kind of looks like her, but the scene's very dark and everything, staying in this kind of, like, you know, wrestling arena from, like, you know, walkers down the outside and everything, which looks to be either they're, like trying to hide from walkers, or they're being put through a really fucked up test. Next, we get to see, why can't I remember his fucking name? Fuck me or anything, but this character now is from season, like, all the previous season or anything, and Charlie sitting over what looks to be maybe the wrestling arena or anything, although I'm not 100% sure or anything. Maybe they're watching those people going, what the fuck is wrong with them, or what's happening with them and everything. But it's very cool to see that, like, you know, they're still alive. They'll be probably, like, you know, focused on a decent amount of season 7. We're also going to see Sarah and everything going into this very scary, or coming out of this very scary and, like, you know, looking brick kind of, like, you know, cellar, or this very scary area. And she does look to be a little bit roughed up, and, like, she might be focused on a little bit more in season 7 or anything, or get a little bit more screen time. We're also going to see and everything Daniel and what looks to be Alan or anything in kind of their new, like, maybe CRM hideout after being picked up from that CRM soldier in the season 6 finale and everything. So it clearly means that they're all, like, you know, be focused on everything in season 7. We'll get to figure out more about, like, you know, what happened to them after the season 6 finale with the CRM soldier, and if they'll truly be taken to the CRM, or maybe like a different outpost and everything, since Isabella probably doesn't want to introduce Al to that hostile, like, wasteland. And also, I'm not sure if Daniel's smiling or looking surprised at his CRM soldier, or maybe, like, seeing Sarah or anything. I'm not sure. Although I do feel he'd be more surprised at his CRM soldier's appearance, seeing, like, a huge built-up society of a new military. We also get to see Luciana, like, talking to Sarah and everything in this kind of, like, area. We get to see Al taking on a walker and everything in the wasteland with a gas mask on, and I think showing that Al will be, like, re-showing up in the wasteland. Like I said, in previous trailers, we've seen her and Morgan interacting. Inside it looks to be her SWAT van, so maybe Al will be taking, like, using the helicopter and everything to come back and see Morgan and maybe let him know on this new society, which happens to be the CRM. We get to see Sarah in bed and everything, waking up from what looks to be maybe a nightmare or maybe something else. I'm not sure. Like I said, it looks like she'd be focused on a little bit more in, like, season 7. We get to our kind of, I guess you could say, our like second most haunting image in the season 7 trailer, which is this woman that doesn't look to be walkified or, like, dead or a walker yet or anything, with her mouth kind of, like, zip tied shut or kind of sewed shut and everything, which looks to be very haunting. What looks to be in front of a person with a gas mask on. Now, I'm not sure if this is, like, a new fucked up enemy group or, like, Morgan's group, although I doubt he would ever do that, or Strand's new group, which maybe he would do that. I'm not sure. We get to see Al and Elizabeth having some, like, alone time together and everything, and, like, showing that Isabella will be involved in season 7, which is really cool, since I do want to learn more about her character and Al and her's relationship. Now let's move on to Strand, his new group, and his new colony / community. Now, going back to the shot, I think for the third time, we get to see Morgan, Sarah, and this new character, maybe a new character from Strand's new huge colony or, like, community, which is clearly, like, looks very, not very kind of upkept and everything, or very defensive against the walkers, but does seem to be keeping out this huge herd and everything, showing that they are competent in what looks to be this maybe new system of sending supplies or speaking to the group and everything that Morgan, Sarah, and this other character is staying on, which might be used to give them supplies or maybe speak to them and everything without getting too close. But it does look like his new community looks to be kind of, just in its beginning stages of development. We also get to see Strand, what looks to be their kind of, like, gun locker and everything, with tons of weapons actually and everything, a pretty huge arsenal. And Victor Strand in what looks to be like, his kind of, like, sailor cap and everything attire. And this is while he's talking to what I do believe is Morgan, where he essentially says, Morgan, you failed and everything, everyone. I'm going to start rebuilding it my way and you're not welcome. Next we get to see this, like, kind of what looks to be maybe new character, not one that I'm definitely not familiar with and everything, stepping out into the wasteland and everything, which does look very similar to a shot that we did see Victor or Strand or anything in another teaser trailer. Next we get to see Victor and everything in a sailor cap and everything, what looks to be maybe on the roof of his new society, since it does look very dark out and everything, so I do believe this is the roof of his new society or new community. On top of that, like, really big building with what looks to be a character that will be reappearing a lot in this season 7 trailer. Now, what's very interesting is what this character does bring up to Victor and everything is kind of like, Alicia will find this place, which obviously, how does he know about Alicia? Obviously, Strand brought him up in some capacity, and maybe this will, like, kind of go to the fact that maybe, like, someone broke her out of her bunker, because obviously, how does new character know about Alicia? And also, how do they know that Alicia will be able to find the place and everything, since obviously she's locked up, so maybe she got out in some way. And Victor does mention, no, she will not find us and everything, and she'll have nothing to do with me once we get started, which is a very scary new side of Victor that seems kind of really weird in my opinion, because it's like, why is he all of a sudden, like, I understand why he wants to go different from what Morgan did, but the fact that he's, like, turning his back on, like, Alicia that easily is just kind of weird to me and everything. We get to see Victor, the character that we did see in the season 6 finale, and that, like, character that, like I said, will be reappearing a line and reoccurring during, like, in the season 7 trailer, and Victor holding up this very weird necklace that maybe is linked to Alicia somehow and everything, and that's, like, how, like, they figured out that she's out and everything, and this is hers, but it just looked to be like they're building and, like, cleaning up their, like, new community and everything, and maybe, like I said, this could be on the roof. In this scene right here and everything, Victor is pointing a gun at, like I said, that character that will be reoccurring a lot and everything, after he does maybe mention, like, Alicia and everything, that she'll find the place, because this is where Victor does say, like, she'll have nothing to do with me after this and everything, so maybe this is where Victor kills him, maybe this is where Victor, like, establishes his, like, kind of leadership and goes, I'm the leader here and everything, you do not talk to me, like, I'm the captain now. We also get to see Victor and everything, and this new character and everything down in what looks to be a kind of maybe meth lab or maybe like a vegetation center, because on this trailer it does look like they go back to Teddy's original underground bunker with, like, the elevator. In my opinion, it does look like they go back to that, so maybe that's where Victor kind of is a secondary base. We're also going to see Victor and this new character and everything down in what looks to be a government underground bunker and everything, which looks to be like a lot, like I said, Teddy's, like, old original bunker, which will be really weird if Victor goes back down there and everything, since obviously it's kind of, I don't want Victor to turn to, like, the new Teddy where he thinks the end is the beginning. But this government center does look really cool. It would be funny to see like, Victor holding like, his meetings and everything in this room and everything as like a governor or whatever. Next we get to see that person or anything, the jacket that we was, I guess, we'll be seeing a lot throughout the trailer, fighting his way out of the elevator or anything. What looks to be maybe Victor's like, goons and everything, which is very weird. Why is this character trying to fight himself free and everything? And like I said, an elevator links to back to like, Teddy's original bunker. So it's very weird that there might be returning back to that area and everything. This is the underground of like, Victor's new hotel community and everything, although I'm not sure. And Victor has pointed a gun at this guy, so maybe they're bringing him down for execution. He's trying to escape. I'm not sure and everything, but this does look to be Victor's kind of like, side men or henchmen or anything, since like I said, he's seen a lot and everything throughout this trailer and isn't even given a full voice line. In the final few shots of the trailer, you get to see like, Victor, Strand and everything fighting through some walkers down the wasteland, yet again not wearing a mask, which is kind of weird. Like I said, it's a very weird and inconsistent thing that I've seen throughout this trailer, is people not wearing like, the radiation protection mask outside like, their bunkers and everything, which is just very odd in my opinion. It's like, do they know the centers of the levels of radiation outside to not wear them, because it's just putting them at risk? But besides that and everything, this was a very cool trailer in my opinion. It was insanely cool, because to see a new conflict arising between Victor and Morgan and everything, to see Morgan is banished from Strand's things, Morgan might be taken by the CRM, since obviously like, he will run into the CRM. Him and Grace will definitely run into them, and seeing that like, Morgan and like, Strand do have a bit of a feud and a bit of tension throughout season 7 of like, Morgan being, like I said, probably banished, and where if like, the CRM will help Morgan take him, or I don't know, just be kind of like, to him. And seeing the CRM being involved in season 7 in general will be really cool. And just seeing all the other characters and what they're up to, like, Dwight and Sherry being like, captured with this new group, seeing like, Al, Daniel, Sarah, Luciano with like, possibly the CRM, and just seeing a lot of the weird and fucked up things throughout this trailer in my opinion, just a bunch of weird stuff. And throughout some last few shots of this trailer and everything, just some miscellaneous stuff, we do get to see a car crashing into the ground, which we did see in the teaser trailer. We also get to see a person kind of maybe on the bomb trying to move out of the way. We get to see this person walking on like in an underpass, and which just could be Morgan and Grayson or anything as they're moving through the underpass, and as we did see in the beginning of their like, part of the trailer. We get to see this person with another person on the back of a horseback, which could be Morgan and Grayson and anything, but this is a very scary looking part of like, the like, wasteland, because it's very dark and grim and everything, and it looks very hopeless. Also, they're riding a horse. Like I said before, I'm very interested to see how horses and animals react to like, the radiation in the wasteland. We get to see a kind of what looks to be maybe an old person walker. This just looks to be maybe Teddy and everything, since didn't he have glasses like, on top of his head or somewhere around him, and it just kind of does look like him a little bit and everything, although I'm not sure. We get to see a bloody baby carriage and everything, or a baby stroller, which, maybe is Morgan and Grace trying to look for something to carry around the baby in or anything, although I'm not sure, because it does look bloody, so it's not too positive of a look. We get to see this like, very weird objects being like, maybe like a hoisted up, lowered down, or maybe even transported somewhere, which I do wonder what this will be used for. We get to see this person stabbing a walker out, like, before checking for radiation, as we did see in other teaser trailers. And like I said, this trailer was really good and everything in my opinion. It gets me really hyped for what like, season 7 has to offer. Like I said, a Morgan and Strand feud, this year being reintroduced and everything, are introduced fully and everything to season 7, and just seeing this whole feud play out and everything, how well the other characters are up to, and how the radiation, the new wasteland, will truly treat our characters, with possible new enemy factions or helpful factions being introduced into like, the season 7 Fear the Walking Dead landscape. But that was my breakdown for the season 7 trailer and everything, the full extended and absolutely insane trailer for season 7 of Fear the Walking Dead. Make sure to leave your thoughts down below on this trailer and everything. Did you guys enjoy it and everything, and what are you most excited for season 7? Because I'm excited for a fuck ton. And I really want to thank you guys for all the support you guys have been giving on like, all of my Fear the Walking Dead and the Walking Dead videos recently and everything. It does mean a lot to me and everything, really. And as per usual, make sure to link this trailer down below in the description so you guys go check it out for yourselves, which I do highly recommend as per usual. And yeah, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe for more latest in the Walking Dead universe and more Fear the Walking Dead content like this, like breakdowns, theories, reviews, and stuff like this in the Walking Dead universe. And yeah, I'll see you guys later, my amigos, and peace out.